Online gambling addiction lawsuit. Compensation for sports betting app losses. The online gambling addiction lawsuit refers to a growing wave of claims filed against major sports betting platforms such as DraftKings and FanDuel. These cases allege that online gambling companies used predatory business practices and deceptive marketing to fuel gambling addictions. In particular, the lawsuits claim that these companies deliberately designed highly addictive mobile apps that rely on psychological triggers, use gamification features, offer constant, real-time betting options, fail to protect users from problem gambling. All of this, according to the lawsuits, is done in a way that exploits human vulnerabilities while downplaying or concealing the true financial risks to users. In this video, we'll break down how these cases work, which companies are being targeted, the scope of online gambling addiction claims, and what this litigation could mean for affected players and their families. This is a developing litigation, and as the investigation progresses, the scope of the facts, accepted injuries, qualified claimants, and target defendant could change. Use the link in the description to visit TruLaw.com and use our chatbot to find out if you qualify for the gambling addiction lawsuit immediately. Important notice: the National Problem Gambling Helpline provides free, confidential support 24/7 for individuals and families affected by gambling addiction, offering crisis counseling, referrals to treatment programs, and support resources. Many states also offer self-exclusion programs, allowing individuals to ban themselves from all gambling platforms. If you are struggling with gambling addiction, we highly encourage you to seek assistance immediately. 3 ways sports betting app platforms fuel addiction. Gambling platforms engineer addiction through deliberate psychological manipulation, technological design choices, and exploitative business practices that transform recreational betting into compulsive behavior. Your gambling problems weren't personal weakness or bad decision-making. They were the predictable outcome of systems specifically designed by behavioral psychologists and data scientists to override rational thought and exploit vulnerability. These platforms differ fundamentally from traditional casinos by operating 24/7 on your smartphone, eliminating all friction from the betting process, and using real-time behavioral data to identify moments of maximum susceptibility. Current litigation exposes how companies knowingly deployed tactics that promote compulsive betting despite recognizing they would create addiction, prioritizing revenue extraction over user welfare. 1. Deceptive marketing and promotional tactics. Lawsuits identify several sophisticated promotional strategies that sports betting apps use to mislead consumers deliberately. Risk-free and no-sweat bet promotions, advertised as safe wagering opportunities, but actually require users to deposit real money up front. Return only site credits, not cash, when bets lose, and force users to gamble additional funds to access promotional value. One Pennsylvania lawsuit notes these credits cannot be withdrawn and must be wagered through intricate requirements. Deposit match bonuses, promoted as generous rewards, but bury requirements in fine print that users must wager 10 times or more times the bonus amount before withdrawing anything, creating mathematical certainty of losing money for most sports bettors. Hidden wagering requirements. A $1,000 risk-free bet typically requires wagering tens of thousands in a compressed time frame to actually receive the benefit, with the app taking a % of all winnings, ensuring users never recoup their full deposits. Time-sensitive offers create artificial urgency and FOMO, fear of missing out, that triggers impulsive betting without rational analysis of odds or financial capacity. These promotions deliberately structure incentives to trigger loss-chasing behavior, a hallmark symptom of gambling disorder. When users lose their initial risk-free bet and receive site credits, the promotional design pushes them to immediately bet again rather than walking away. This pattern repeats until users have deposited far more than intended, trapped in a cycle where previous losses psychologically compel continued gambling to recover financial losses. 2. Addictive app design features. These technological features are specifically engineered to create compulsive gambling behavior. One-click betting eliminates all friction from wagering process, allowing users to place bets in seconds without deliberation about financial consequences, mimicking slot machines' rapid-fire gameplay that research identifies as most addictive gambling format. Live-in-game betting, micro-betting, creates constant wagering opportunities during sporting events on outcomes like next score, missed free throw, or play-by-play occurrences, transforming single game bets into dozens of rapid decisions that produce continuous dopamine hits. Strategic push notifications, timed to coincide with sporting events, sent after losses to encourage immediate recovery betting, deployed when algorithms detect users haven't wagered recently, and personalized based on betting history to boost engagement. Slot machine-style rewards, visual celebrations, and sound effects for small wins, even when overall session results in net losses, creating loss disguised as win experiences that psychologically feel like success despite financial harm. 24/7 smartphone accessibility eliminates physical barriers traditional casino games provided, making it impossible to escape gambling triggers and allowing betting in bed, at work, during family events, or any moment of weakness. The constant smartphone accessibility represents perhaps the most dangerous innovation. Unlike traditional casinos requiring physical presence, online platforms eliminate all barriers to gambling. Users report placing bets at stoplights, in bathrooms at work, while lying in bed unable to sleep, and during family gatherings. The inability to escape these triggers makes recovery far more difficult than addiction to substances or location-based gambling. 3. VIP programs and targeted exploitation. Current litigation exposes VIP host programs as the most predatory practices in the gambling industry. Data-driven identification, platforms use algorithms analyzing deposit frequency, session duration, loss-chasing patterns, and late-night gambling to identify users who developed gambling addictions, then specifically target these vulnerable individuals for VIP recruitment. Personal account managers assign hosts who establish quasi-intimate relationships with high-value customers, send personalized messages, texts, and emails up to 100 times per day in documented cases, and provide direct phone contact unavailable to regular users. Luxury incentives offer free tickets to NFL, NBA, and MLB games, all expense-paid vacations, including Formula One events and championship games, high-end electronics and merchandise, cash bonuses and deposit matches, and exclusive access to celebrity events. Deliberate exploitation of known addiction, continue aggressive marketing even after users explicitly request account closure, mention financial problems, admit gambling with stolen money, or display exponential increases in betting that should trigger anti-money laundering investigations. Which gambling platforms are facing addiction lawsuits? Major platforms facing legal action or investigation include DraftKings, FanDuel, Caesars Sportsbook, BetMGM, Fanatics, ESPN Bet. As this litigation progresses and more evidence comes to light, the scope of potential defendants is expected to increase. If you used a betting app, either one above or any other, and suffered significant losses or addiction as a result, contact TruLaw to share your story and find out if you qualify. Injuries associated with gambling addiction. Gambling addiction is more than just financial loss. It can lead to serious psychological harm and life-altering financial injuries. Psychological and emotional injuries may include, but are not limited to, depression, anxiety and panic attacks, suicidal ideation, thoughts of self-harm or suicide, suicide attempts, suicide, obsessive or compulsive behaviors related to gambling, sleep disturbances, increased irritability, anger, or emotional outbursts, shame, guilt, and feelings of worthlessness, strain on relationships, worsening of pre-existing mental health conditions, substance abuse or relapse. Financial injuries may include significant gambling losses over time, credit card debt, payday loans, or personal loans taken out to gamble, overdrawn bank accounts, and repeated overdraft fees, defaulting on bills, rent, or mortgage payments, depletion of savings, retirement accounts, or college funds, repossession or foreclosure on vehicles or homes, damage to credit score and long-term borrowing ability, job loss or reduced income tied to gambling-related performance issues, business losses or bankruptcy related to gambling behavior, legal issues arising from efforts to cover gambling debts, as well as other emotional, psychological, and financial harms connected to problem gambling. Damages in the sports betting addiction lawsuit. If you or a loved one developed a gambling addiction tied to online sports betting platforms, you may be able to seek compensation for both financial and non-financial harm. Potential damages in these cases can include, but are not limited to, money lost through online gambling, credit card debt, loans, or lines of credit taken out to fund betting, savings, retirement funds, or investment accounts depleted to cover gambling losses, medical expenses related to gambling addiction treatment, therapy, counseling, inpatient, or outpatient treatment, costs of psychiatric or psychological care for related conditions such as anxiety, depression, or suicidal ideation, lost wages or reduced earning capacity due to time off work, job loss, or diminished work performance, damage to credit scores, and long-term financial stability, marital or family-related losses, including separation, divorce, or custody-related impacts, emotional distress and mental anguish caused by addiction and its consequences, loss of enjoyment of life and disruption of daily activities and relationships, damage to reputation or professional standing. This list is not exhaustive. Other financial and personal losses are potentially tied to the development and consequences of a gambling addiction. How much money do I need to have lost to qualify for a gambling addiction lawsuit? Most attorneys evaluate cases involving $10,000 or more in gambling losses or debt, with some reviewing cases at $50,000 or higher. Lower losses combined with factors like young age, 18 to 30 years old, VIP host involvement, ignored account closure requests, or severe psychological consequences, including suicide attempt, can strengthen cases with smaller financial thresholds as attorneys evaluate the totality of harm rather than just dollar amounts alone. How long do I have to file a gambling addiction lawsuit? Statute of limitations typically ranges from 1 to 6 years from when the addiction or harm occurred, varying by state. Some states may extend deadlines for minors or delayed psychological injuries, though relying on extensions risks losing compensation rights. It is very important that you contact an attorney to ensure that you file a claim within your statute of limitations. These strict legal deadlines absolutely bar claims filed after expiration. Waiting also risks losing platform communications, VIP host messages, and transaction records that may be deleted over time. Are there any upfront costs to file a gambling addiction lawsuit? No. Gambling addiction lawsuits are handled on a contingency fee basis, meaning you pay nothing upfront and attorneys only receive fees if compensation is recovered. This arrangement ensures access to experienced legal representation regardless of financial situation, particularly important given that gambling addiction typically causes severe financial devastation. Attorneys cover investigation costs, expert witness fees, and litigation expenses, which are reimbursed from any settlement or verdict obtained. If a verdict or settlement is not reached, you do not owe any legal fees or reimbursements. Can I file a lawsuit if I gambled as a minor? Yes. You may still qualify for a gambling addiction lawsuit even if you were a minor when you gambled. Online betting platforms are not supposed to allow underage users to create accounts, deposit money, or place bets. If you were able to do so, you may have a claim. If you or a family member gambled as a minor and are now dealing with gambling addiction or losses, contact TruLaw or use the link in the description to visit our website and use our chatbot to see if you qualify for a gambling addiction lawsuit. If you are currently a minor, under 18, you need to have a parent or guardian contact our law firm on your behalf. TruLaw, accepting clients for the online gambling addiction lawsuit. Online gambling addiction lawsuits are being filed by individuals and families across the country who suffered financial ruin and mental health problems from gambling platforms designed with deliberately addictive mechanisms and insufficient safeguards. TruLaw is currently accepting clients for the online gambling addiction lawsuit. If you or a loved one suffered gambling addiction, severe financial losses, or mental health problems from online gambling platforms, you may be eligible to seek compensation. Contact TruLaw using the chat on TruLaw.com to receive an instant case evaluation that can determine if you qualify for the online gambling addiction lawsuit today.